Well, hello, everybody. Glad you're with us here on a Wednesday. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with our friends at Yellow Hammer News. Man, Barry's ready for baseball. Got his L.A. Dodgers hat on today.
Yep, I'm on the road in Monroe, Louisiana, as it turns out. I'll be here today and tomorrow. Troy basketball is on the road at ULM today. They'll play tonight at 6:30, ESPN Plus. I'll have the radio broadcast. And then we are on the road to Mobile, where Torrey plays South Alabama on Saturday. In the job that I've got, you've got to embrace the road, and got in late yesterday, ready to go. Didn't get a chance.
I think they call them road warriors.
Yeah,
is how they define those.
There's a lot of those. I've got two more of these trips left in the regular season, so it's scooting by pretty well. Yeah. Didn't get a chance because we were traveling yesterday to watch either the Auburn game or the Alabama game, but I was tracking it, and I've seen highlights of that, and boy, it's worth talking about for sure.
Highlights. Highlights.
Yeah. Well,
let this sink in, Barry.
Yes.
More turnovers than 3-point attempts. You ever heard that stat
turnovers
before?
Yeah. And that's not a crazy statistic just on the face of it, unless you know how Alabama plays basketball. They shoot a lot of 3-pointers. If you were to tell me, John says, "Okay, Barry, you missed everything about the game last night. I'm letting you know." What if I told you that Alabama shot 20 3-pointers? And I'd say, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
And they only made 5 of them. Ooh. 5 3-pointers for Alabama. Okay, what if I told you, Barry, that Alabama would turn the ball over 21 times and only force 7 of them themselves? What would you think?
Not good.
I'd say, ooh, they would.
That is not good.
They'd lose that game by double digits.
You know, Barry, when you're not,
they did.
When the threes are not falling,
yeah,
and you've missed, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 in a row.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Gracie with the slump buster. You got to bank one off the wood. Yeah. You just got to throw it up there and bounce it off the backboard and think, hey, if it goes in, then I'm good. Then they'll start falling. But you got to do something different.
Mentally, everybody on the team that they said, here goes Longshore jacking up or whatever. Somebody's jacking one up. Oh, a bank shot, and it goes in. Everybody laughs a little bit.
Yeah,
he didn't mean to do that. Blah blah blah, and it kind of loosens them up a little bit.
Then they start falling.
Yeah. That's kind of like somebody. That's like whenever you're, if I can say this, if you're leaning over a putt and man, your side, your group hasn't made a putt all day. And you're leaning over your putt, and as you're addressing it, and everybody's quiet, there's a little gas passed. And everybody starts laughing and everything.
Sure. I've actually heard that happen before a time or two.
Yeah,
but
it loosens them up. And
sure it does. No doubt.
Let's just enjoy ourselves.
This I can't say I'm surprised. I am kind of surprised how the threes weren't falling last night. But it's like if what they are built on doesn't work, there's no backup plan. And to me, it was like you see this 3 or 4 times in the year. It's unorganized. It looks like street ball. The defense was not there. You can say the offense wasn't either. But Ole Miss played really well. They hustled.
Yeah.
They played hard. I didn't see that out of Alabama for 40 minutes. It was just kind of like we're going through the motions kind of game. Ole Miss is good. They're no world beater, but they're really good and they're disciplined. But there was no excuse for that last night. And those are kind of things that I noticed early in the season when I'm trying to differentiate between Auburn and Alabama. I mean, I've been saying it for 2 months. Auburn's the best looking team I've seen. The eye test tells me they're really, really good. Alabama I've had some doubts about, and last night confirmed it.
Well, it was odd. I mean, just looking at the numbers again, I didn't see it its entirety, so I'm not totally sure of the ebb and flow of the game, but it just looks like there was none for Alabama. Alabama is high volume. I'm not telling this to John. John knows, but if for somebody out there who haven't seen
Yeah.
play, they're high volume. They get a lot of shots up. They're high tempo. They play fast. The faster they can play, the better they like it. Ole Miss got up 23 more shots than Alabama did. 23 more shots. Alabama shot the ball 47 times, which is a low number for them. Probably a lot of it was because they turned it over 21 times.
Is that the lowest score? Is that the lowest output for Alabama this year? I got to think it is.
I'll look that up because that's a good thought. I hadn't thought about that, but I'll look that up. Regardless of the outcome, if you see Alabama and they've scored 64 points, you know it's bad, particularly at home, particularly when they were on, an 8-game winning streak, kind of feeling full of themselves, and then just an absolute clunker last night. I did get a chance to watch this because they had this on the bus on the way to Monroe last night. Kentucky beats I'll get to Auburn in a second. Kentucky at home beats a really good Texas A&M team. Kentucky looked good yesterday. Crazy crowd. They win by 12. I'll just say this, if Alabama plays at the tempo they played last night, when they take on Kentucky in Rupp on Saturday at 11 in the morning, they'll get run out of the gymnasium.
Yeah, they will. You're right about that. You can't, you got to win at home because winning on the road is so difficult. And there again, they didn't even show up last night. I mean, it just looked, okay, had a big win Saturday night in College Station and quick turnaround. I don't want to hear that. These are college kids. They're young. I don't want to hear it. But you got a couple extra days now before you go to Lexington and regroup. And I think you got to regroup between the ears as well. Maybe you've been reading your press clippings a little bit too much. And as we go to Auburn, here's one of the big deals or the differences. I see too many individuals on Alabama's team. I see a lot of team play on Auburn's.
Auburn had you would figure it was a challenge last night, playing without the best player in college basketball this year, Johni Broome. They weren't playing at home, where Auburn has always been really, really good. And they're playing against a Mississippi State team that came in, number 15 in the country. They were 15-1, 15-2, and 14-3. And Auburn looked phenomenal in that game without Johni Broome. A lot of different guys, stood up and played well, including Chad Baker-Mazara. Chaney Johnson was a guy that they really needed to step up. Auburn wins that game 88-66, and they were never challenged in that one. So number one, Auburn wins without their star. If they can make it through the Georgia game on Saturday, then they got a little bit of a break before they play Tennessee a week from Saturday. So they negotiated it well yesterday. Again, not to compare, but if you're watching just Auburn and Alabama, what John is lamenting about Alabama was not the case in the Auburn game. Auburn played with a ton of energy. Auburn, they did it in a lot of different ways. Midway range game, they got contributions from everybody. They looked really good. I mean, just the look of it, regardless of the final score, the way they played gives you a lot of confidence, particularly playing without your best player.
And I think we're going to look back at this game last night in Tuscaloosa, and if things don't go well in Lexington on Saturday and they don't go well later in the season when they have to face Auburn twice and they got Florida and some of these other schools that are really good, Tennessee, and the regular season doesn't turn out like people had expected, I think we'll look back on this game last night and say, well, maybe started against Ole Miss on the 14th of January. And as I watch games like this, you hear these rumblings and whatnot, but to me, those are the type of games that just frustrate coaches to no end. I got to think Nate Oates was not real happy after that game. I didn't listen or watch any post-game press conference or anything like that, but I just get the feeling that, those are the type of games you're thinking, what happened out there tonight? I mean, I didn't see this through any of the preseason practices or any of the games we've played so far. Is it just a one and done? We got it out of our system. We'll see. Because there again, big one Saturday, a lot of other big games coming up. Yep. They've been touted as one of the top teams in the league. You can't lose that way, particularly at home, if you're one of the top teams in the league.
And you did ask a good question earlier, and I'm looking through. Yeah, 64 points last night was their season low. I think their previous season low was against Grand Canyon.
Oh.
In the second game when they scored 72. And they scored 72 at UConn as well. So, yeah, that
and once again, Barry, as I'm watching the game last night, obviously nobody's gotten in Greg Burns' ear. They get to that end of the floor that I always talk about. What do I see? A bunch of media members sitting on their hands, looking at phones, watching something else and not the Bama game. And I'm thinking, why in the world have you not moved the media? That looks terrible on television. Am I the only one that notices that? It just drives me insane. I don't know of any other school that does that.
Also, another bone that sticks in John's throat. We can update you on this. Instead of 88 free throws being shot in the Alabama game, there were only 42 free throws in that game.
I will say this, Barry. Now that you bring it up, I don't recall hearing as many whistles last night. The flow of the game did not irk me like it did on Saturday.
The point is that, again, Alabama did not play their tempo. They like to get it moving, 94 feet, but yet again, they only took, 47 shots. Ole Miss shot 23 more times than Alabama did. And the flow wasn't Alabama. The flow didn't come to Alabama, and it wasn't because there were too many whistles. There was too many free throws. It wasn't that. It had to have been something else, and I'd love to know what you've got to say.
I mean, I know that the school just started back. I mean, is there a big second semester academic load or something? I seriously doubt it. I mean, who knows what's going through an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid's mind. I remember what was going through mine 40 years ago.
Yeah, he still remembers that. And it's different. He's not bragging on his memory or anything. It's because a lot of the things that were going through his mind 40 years ago are still going through his mind.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it hadn't changed all that much. John mentioned this yesterday on the show. A big schedule last night in SEC basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that was the only upset, was Alabama losing to Ole Miss. And that was a sizable upset. I'll change that. Missouri ended up beating number 5 Florida. That was a big upset as well. But he mentions this, kind of a light schedule tonight. Good number of games on a Tuesday. Tonight, there's only 3 in the SEC, including Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
9:00.
Somebody has got, maybe they on our River Region Straw chat line, somebody can help me out with this. I was really had it in my mind and kind of looking forward to the dual box last night. Is there a function that I need to learn about to just get a dual box, or am I going to have to watch the quad box? Because last night I had on Auburn, Mississippi State,
right?
Alabama, Ole Miss, Kentucky, and
Kentucky. Gosh, who did I just say? Texas A&M.
And A&M, and then I've got like Marquette and DeSalle or somebody and I'm going, wait a minute, how'd they pick that game? I mean, whoa, what? Come on. I got 3 games I'm kind of interested in, this one in the top left corner I could care less about. Can I just get the 2 games? Do I have to go quad box? I got to look into that today. That frustrated me.
Chris the Bammer says you can customize. Of course, my initial response is just don't watch it. Just don't look. John can't do it. He's easily distracted, you know. You can customize what's in that quad box according to Chris the Bammer. So it could be
I got to get
Alabama
a tutorial.
game, Auburn game, Kentucky game, and Law and Order.
Or
like
Jesse Waters. Yeah, I could have had Jesse on there in the top left box. That'd be great.
That way you can mute all the basketball games and listen to Jesse while it's going on.
Man, that is a great idea. Hey, Chris, give me the instructions on how to do that.
Down there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So, big night of basketball. I want to get your thoughts about it. Had some friends that were at the game last night. Got a chance to get some insight from them and pretty much what we have shared with you already today. So, love to get your thoughts about it. It is also a week. Well, I guess it's national championship week. And I noticed, Barry, on our stream, I think this came in late on our chat line yesterday, but we had somebody commenting or disagreeing with my take on college football fatigue. And I'm sitting here twiddling my thumb. I mean, here it is Wednesday. I'm thinking, come on already. Can we play? I mean, what's the holdup?
He's insatiable. He's like that at a buffet, too. Come on, move. Let's get that old lady out of there. What's she doing? She's the only one in here eating the pickled beets, and it's between me and the chicken tenders or whatever.
I said, lady, you can get another plate. I mean, you don't have to just have one. Get 2 plates. Let's go.
That's right. Yeah. Fatigue, college football fatigue from a guy who has been absolutely banging the drum for years about we need more games. We got to have more games. And according to John, I never realized that he's talking about having like 6 straight days of games.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
One on a Tuesday, one on a Wednesday, maybe one on a Thursday. We'll give him Wednesday off, and then boom, big weekend. You know, that's what he's asking about.
When CJ Duncan joins us at the bottom of this hour, I'm going to ask him about it. He might be experiencing college football fatigue as well.
Yeah, and if he gives you the stink eye and says, what in the world, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. He's John Longshore. He is in network control. I'm Terry McKnight in, I always forget. We're in a Marriott or something.
You're in Monroe, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, Monroe, Louisiana, with Troy men's basketball in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, folks, let's start 2025 off on the right foot at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where you can get a 2024 Ford Bronco up to $10,000 off MSRP as low as $34,990. What about the popular Ford Escape? Well, you can get one as low as $24,990 and 1.9% APR for 66 months. You know, the Ford Explorer is what started the SUV craze back in the early 80s, and it's still going strong today. You can save up to $8,000 off MSRP as low as $33,990 and 1.9% APR for 66 months. But I know what you're asking me. John, what about the popular F-150, America's best-selling pickup for over 50 years in a row? Well, you can get a 2024 F-150 Crew Cab at 1.9% APR for 60 months or up to $15,000 off MSRP, plus no payments for 90 days. And they've got plenty to choose from. I've never seen as many cars and trucks on the ground at Stivers as they've got there today. Go by and see for yourself. 4000 Eastern Boulevard, Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where Price sells cars and trucks.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946. Okay, welcome back in. 20 minutes past the hour on this Wednesday. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, going to join us in about 10 minutes or so. Talking a lot about basketball last night. Nate Oates in some post-game. He's pretty disgusted, says his offense stunk. But as we talked about, Barry, if the threes aren't falling and you can't get close to the bucket, what else is this team going to do?
I wonder about this, and I've talked with coaches about this. In sports, when you hit a slump, a team-wide slump, I never have understood when a coach afterwards says, man, the threes weren't falling for us. It's not some kind of a cosmic thing where, all of a sudden it's preordained by the good Lord above that today is a day that the entire team can't shoot three-pointers. One of the great lessons, one of the great provocative theories I ever heard came from John Longshore one time, and I'd never really thought about it before, when he's talking about flipping a coin or rolling the dice. All right, so it comes up heads 4 times in a row. Do you know what the percentage is that it'll come up heads again? Still 50%, right?
Yeah,
still
it is.
The dice does not know. I mean, the coin does not know that it has just flipped to heads. It doesn't know. It's 50% every time. Same thing with dice. The dice doesn't know that it rolled snake eyes 4 times in a row. Same thing with basketball. You shoot the basketball, and let's say you've missed 5 in a row. Say you're not on your game. Does that mean the guy next to you all of a sudden can't shoot? The next, if you've been practicing, your next shot has every bit the same chance to go in as your last shot did.
Yeah.
Or your teammate's last shot. It's not contagious, or it shouldn't be contagious. Just keep shooting, right?
Sure.
I mean, if you could boil down John's basketball career into one theory, it was, hey, keep shooting. All right, if I'm hot, keep shooting. If I'm not, I'll keep shooting until I get hot,
Yeah, that's what used to frustrate me. My son's a pretty good shooter, and he would get in games, and I'd seen passing a lot. I said, why are you passing the ball all the time? And I figured it out. It's like, if I miss, then, I'm scared I'll miss again. I'm thinking, what? You're my son? What do you mean? Well, hold on. You think you're scared you're going to miss again? Heck, I'd miss 10 in a row if I had to before I made my first one. You got to be kidding me.
And on that 11th, after you've gone 0-10 and you hit that 3-pointer, you're still pennies at the end.
I'm backpedaling. I might have missed the first 10, but when that 11th one goes in, I am backpedaling down the floor, letting the crowd know it.
Well,
hey, also, Barry, it's like these guys, you're sitting at a blackjack table, and it happens all the time. And the guy goes, oh, dealer's due for a bust. And I look over at him like,
who says?
Yeah, I mean, does the shoot tell you that? Oh, hey, dealer's about to bust. He's too hot. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, think that way, buddy. You'll be pulling more money out of your pocket.
Is this moment in time contingent on anything that happened in the past? No, it's a brand new moment. Now, believe me, there are people on a basketball court who cannot shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot shoot. Now, you'll watch them. Past predictors tell you that this guy ain't got a prayer of making this shot. He's like 1 for 17 this year from three-point range. You can look at tendencies and stuff, but if you look team-wide and that team shoots a lot of three-pointers and has been successful at three-pointers, you can't look at each other and say, well, tonight's not our night. Well, why not? I never have understood that, boy, the putts weren't falling for me today. Are you telling me that last putt that you missed was contingent on the putt that you missed, 3 holes back or whatever?
Yep.
I never have understood that.
You miss a shot or you hit a T-ball out of bounds. You got to get over it and move on to the next hole.
Yep.
Hey, our friend Ellis, Barry, this is interesting. I got to check this Al, this is pretty interesting. He said he heard a stat that Alabama ended one of the longest streaks of scoring 70 or more points consecutively last night. And it does seem like they've scored at least 70 or more. Last night certainly wasn't the case, but ended a big streak, a long streak of scoring 70 or more points.
Yeah, they've scored 70 in every game. Their low this year was 72, and they did that twice. So I don't know. It probably goes back to last year. I would say it definitely goes back to last year, but it is it was a bad time to do it. If you do it on the road, you can kind of, I guess, rationalize it a little bit more. But man, that was not the time to do it. That was Alabama's first loss at home all year long, and John's right. The method of winning, especially in a league like the SEC, which is such a meat grinder, you got to win all your home games. And if you can split on the road, you're doing all right. But number one, win the games at home. And not only did Alabama not win it, they did not look. It was on a fluke. They
terrible.
Deserved not to win.
Yeah,
yes,
it looked unorganized. Hey, a couple of chats on our River Region Straw chat line. John, I do remember the Normandale Baptist Church 1990 Men's Church League champs. You guys are pretty good. I can remember that. I mean, I threw a couple of elbows there. I flopped a lot against you guys. We could not get over on you. Really good team. I think there was some recruiting going on that.
Yeah.
I'm not accusing anybody, but I'm not sure it was a member of the Normandale Baptist Church that played on that team.
It's an evangelical church, John. You're recruiting people into your denomination. You're recruiting people into the word. And hey, if they can also set a pick, get a rebound or two, and maybe shoot a pull-up jumper, all the better. Praise
I guess so.
Yep.
Yeah, they were talented. Yeah. And you're right, John. No blood, no foul. There was more physical play and some salty language in church league than any other organized basketball I ever played. And two-time caller of the year, JD, I'm going to explain this one more time. People have gone crazy. I cannot wait to ask CJ Duncan this question.
Oh, boy.
But people are just, they look. When I say I'm having college football fatigue, look, I want as many teams in the playoff as we can get. Well, maybe not that, but 16, I'm good. Yeah, let's have 16 teams. I'm good with that. It's the calendar that has got me fatigued. This thing's stretching out way too long. We got to condense this calendar. We got to play more games in a shorter period of time. I mean, why are we dragging this thing out so long? That's my only problem. It's not that, I hate the playoff. It's staying. I love the playoff. I just don't like the calendar.
So is he talking about a Saturday game followed by a Thursday game and John says he don't want to hear about these players being fatigued.
Yeah, come on.
I don't want to hear about it. They're young.
Yeah,
John's thinking about two things. Number one, he's thinking about one thing and he's not thinking about another. He's not thinking about number one. It's all about me. It's all about player welfare. I want to watch football.
Yeah.
They're young. They don't need to be fatigued. Meanwhile, on his side, what he's not thinking about is that's all he said about himself in this process. Man,
I'll admit
fatigued. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of waiting.
Yeah.
I'm tired. They don't need to be tired. Me, I'm tired. They don't.
If
know
you're
about
asking me my personal opinion on it, yeah, I want more football in a shorter, condensed period of time.
Yeah.
I'm sure the gambling element out there would like it too. I mean, action every night. I mean, isn't that what we're looking for anyway? So I'm in. Yeah, but this stretching it out, dragging it out, all these pregame television shows on ESPN, I've heard enough of them. Let's play. Tee it up. Let's go.
He's sitting there, all right, getting ready. He's got his supper in front of him on the TV tray, ready, settled in tonight. There's a little woman, cat at his feet, and everything. And what? Log rolling? What are they doing with it? Oh man, another rerun of Law and Order. I've seen this like 8 times.
Yeah.
He wants football, and he don't want to hear any crud about it either.
That's
Get
right.
it on his TV screen. Otherwise, he ain't happy.
Give it to me now.
Yeah, it's like Veruca Salt in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I want it now.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. And
Yep.
John evidently has loaded up a lot of questions for CJ Duncan because he's already mentioned it a couple of times. I can't wait to ask CJ this. That's coming up in just a moment. as we roll on the Wednesday show. John is situated in his normal spot. I'm in Monroe, Louisiana. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Okay, back at it here on this Wednesday. So glad you are with us. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. And we bring in a good friend of ours from Yellowhammer News, CJ Duncan. Hey, CJ, how you doing today?
John, Barry, how y'all doing? It's nice to be here this morning.
It's great to have you with us, as always. Where are you right now?
I am in Birmingham, Homewood area, Birmingham, Alabama. I'm at my home right now, right before I head into work.
There you go. I got it. I want to know, first of all, since you're in the hotbed of college football, first of all, are you surprised at the finalists in the college football playoff, especially the way that that they arrived there? Notre Dame had the late field goal to beat Penn State. Ohio State, the late play to beat Texas. Anything about those really make you say, wow, I was not expecting that at all?
You know what? I did expect that the finalists would come from the two parts of the bracket that they came from, right? I know we talked before, the Ohio State-Tennessee game. We expected a lot more out of that one. And then whoever played Oregon, you kind of saw a path for, if you make it through that kind of gauntlet right there, you would see that team probably reign supreme against anybody else. And then, the Georgia Notre Dame game, you were kind of seeing the same thing happen over there in that side of the bracket. Did I see Notre Dame getting all the way to the final? I'm not sure that I can say I predicted that, but I will say, if you look at the bracket, the two top parts of the bracket, I did see a team from those areas getting to the final.
CJ, speaking of Notre Dame, really just about every team that I've watched throughout the season, and particularly in the playoff, Notre Dame to me is the most disciplined team that I've seen this year, really more disciplined than I've seen in a long time. You don't see the me. It's all about team with Notre Dame.
Yeah, you know what? And I think it translates all the way, from the coach, just how he carries himself. And, even post-game when, they tried to make it about him and the things he's accomplished as a 38-year-old man, he said, this isn't about me. This is about these guys. And not only are they disciplined, but they're gritty, man. They're tough.
Mm-hmm.
Even when things aren't necessarily going their way, they get back up and pop you in the mouth again. And I think Penn State, kind of saw that the other night where, for a while there, you see Penn State have a lot of momentum, but Notre Dame just kept getting back up, kept getting back up. They thought they had already put the game away, and they hadn't. I agree with you. I think that this team and really that program, I think, is heading in the right direction. It may be a little too early for them, but they're heading in the right direction.
There's something to be said, CJ, for patience and forbearance when you're talking about your head coach. Too much, especially at the upper echelons of college football. It's, hey, we won. Oh my gosh, we lost. Fire the coach. Marcus Freeman, last year was building things. You could see some momentum. Then they lost early this year to Northern Illinois, and the fans are like, oh, this is not the guy. Somebody wrote after the win over Penn State that Marcus Freeman has done something that nobody really thought was possible.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of make it where people like Notre Dame now a little bit.
I agree that you want to turn on the TV and watch Notre Dame, and I know growing up that wasn't my thing. I'm from here in Alabama. I'm from Montgomery. We didn't care too much about Notre Dame. I've heard all the stories about Lou Holtz and the Notre Dame and USC game. I've heard these things, but they're not in a conference. They never are, playing against the teams that I enjoy watching. So didn't pay a whole lot of attention to him. Now I want to turn on the TV. And you know what? Notre Dame's going to have a hard time keeping him at Notre Dame. I think he has put the country on notice, and not just college football. I think owners in the NFL will also look very closely at him these next couple of years.
It's interesting, Barry, what you bring up there. And I've kind of fallen into it as well. I want to watch Notre Dame. I mean, they're fun to watch. Like I said, they're disciplined. When I was growing up, CJ, Coach Bryant never beat Notre Dame. And Ray Perkins was the first Alabama coach to do it in '86, and the place just went berserk at Legion Field the first time the Tide had ever beaten the Irish. And certainly they've had some great games since then. But I couldn't stand them. I wanted to, I loved it when the scores were rolling in and Notre Dame was losing or ended up losing the game. It was like, oh, but now it's kind of different.
Yeah, no, I agree. They've got something going there. And Riley Leonard, he's an Alabama kid, so it's good to see someone from our state, one of our own, performing at a very high level. I feel like earlier in the season, I may have been critical just of his consistency passing the ball. And it's so good to see how he has evolved over the season. And he kind of gives you a, poor man's Josh Allen kind of vibe now, where he's getting more consistent in the pass game. But if that kid tucks it and runs it, he's a problem. And so it's really good to see him progress and their team make it this far.
Well, I want to ask you about this phenomenon, particularly with somebody like Riley Leonard. You played a lot of high-level football at a high level in college, and I want to know if this is a thing. There are people out there, maybe Josh Allen is one, Mahomes is one. You can think of them in college or high school. Those guys, particularly at the quarterback position, that the teams can kind of rallies around, that they gravitate towards, not necessarily because he gives the fire and brimstone speeches in the locker room, but just the way he competes, just the way he carries himself. You usually, on any really good, successful team, have a guy or two that just leads and people congregate around him just by the force of his personality and by the level of his competitiveness, right? That's a thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? It starts in the locker room, and it starts on the walk to class from the facilities. It starts, in the dorm rooms. That's where you really find out about a guy and really you feel like he's one of your own. Quarterbacks are usually put up on a pedestal and, you take more of the blame than you probably deserve and you take more of the credit than you deserve. And you're the one that's getting the big NIL deals, the commercials, things like that. But even with that, can you still relate to us little guys down here that are also on the team? And I think a guy who can relate to everybody on the team, because there's so many different guys that come into a team from different backgrounds and different interests and things like that. You got 100 guys. You can't all be best friends, but if everybody can say, you know what, that's a good dude right there, regardless, that's a good dude. Usually those are the guys that they want to fight hardest for.
CJ, if Ohio State ends up winning the national championship on Monday, I believe we're going to hear people talking, well, it's the best team money can buy. And we've seen, Caleb Downs, who was at Alabama. Herb Street's been raving about him over the last 3 or 4 games. Quinshon Judkins, who played at Pike Road, went from Ole Miss to Ohio State, many others as well. A, are we going to see more of that? And B, how do the Auburns and Alabamas and everybody else in the world compete with that if there's programs out there that are opening up the checkbook and just buying the best team they can get?
You know what? I think it's only the start of it. I think, Ohio State is proving that that particular blueprint can work. I don't think that Coach Belichick is going to look at it any differently. I think he came to North Carolina, he came down to college, thinking, okay, what's the difference between the NFL and in college at this point, right? You have to draft guys, and sometimes the guys may be taken or whatever when it's in the NFL. In college, it doesn't matter what team they own. If you show them a check that they like, they'll come and play for you. So it feels like it may be a little bit easier than being in the NFL. You don't have to worry about trades and this and that, worrying about the cap, and there's a lot of things that go on in the NFL that there's rules that you have to follow. Right now, there are no rules in college.
No.
So I do think you'll see more teams doing that. And how do you compete with it? It's tough. I think the only way to get out of this situation is to get guys to stay in your program longer. I think chemistry overall will eventually beat out this kind of pay for play situation. If you get guys to stay in your program for 3 years, I think you can beat a smorgasbord of players on another team. I think that will happen. Right now, and especially if you have a good quarterback. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times it comes down to having a guy under center. And right now, the Auburns and the Alabamas are trying to figure that out. I think coming into the year, Alabama thought, Milroe was going to be a guy, and Milroe, he's done well for Alabama, but he's not that guy, right? And so I think chemistry and a good guy under center can probably beat money when it's all said and done. But right now, no one has the chemistry or the quarterback under center to beat money. So,
with everything being said, Monday night when Ohio State and Notre Dame play for the national championship, what'll it come down to? Is there a distinct advantage you see on one team over another?
Ohio State's defensive line, man, they make you so one-dimensional. I mean, they just do not give up rushing yards, and they're very active in the pass game. If they don't get home for a sack, they're at least hurrying the quarterback, making him get the ball out a lot quicker than he'd like. Everybody's having to play faster because those guys are just hunting the entire game. I think that they're going to make the difference. If you take away the long run that the running back love for Notre Dame had against Indiana, if you take away that long run, Notre Dame has really struggled in their rushing attack since then, and really this entire playoff. So if you're going up against a really good defensive line like Ohio State, it does make you one-dimensional. Now you're putting a lot of pressure on Riley Leonard to throw the ball, to throw them to a win. And I just don't know that that's possible against a super talented team like Ohio State.
All right, CJ, a former college football player yourself right here in the SEC. Are you getting college football fatigue?
You know what? I was listening to the show earlier, and I totally understand what you mean, but I also feel like I have to be realistic. At the end of the day, it's about the TV numbers and money and advertisement and all that. So I understand why they're stretching this thing out, but I'm with you. I mean, it's almost February, and we're still playing college football. It kind of feels weird, to be honest with you.
A little aside about how things are set up here on Longshore and McKnight. When CJ checks in what we call the green room, when he's in the holding tank, we can see him down below us getting ready and making sure, his camera's right and all that. When John said that about fatigue, and I'm going to ask CJ Duncan, I looked down and CJ was And I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. He's gonna agree with John, and then we're off and running. And I kind of snuck a peek at you, CJ.
You know what? I do agree with him. But I know it's something I can't control, so I roll with the punches kind of thing. But we've been playing college football and I love college football. I love college football over the NFL, honestly. And so it's been great to kind of see what this 12-team playoff looks like, and I'm excited for it next year. I'm trying to figure out a way for Vanderbilt to get in. It's like if we get 10 wins, and it gets your mind going, and so I truly enjoy it. But I mean, there's going to be, I think, a 10 or 11-day span in between the semifinal and the final, which I don't know that that's necessary. You know what I mean? So I think it's a work in progress. First year.
Yep.
Hopefully we can tighten some things up, trim some fat next year.
Well, if we go to 16 teams, you never know. Vandy could get in there. I like that as well. And CJ, there again, I don't have a problem with the number of teams. And if they want to expand it, great. Not a problem with that. I just think the schedule, the calendar, they've got to tweak that a little bit. I know there's some talk about starting the regular season in what's now week 0, and everybody's going to play in late August. Do we need 2 off weeks in the regular season? Do we need the week between the championship games and the first round of the playoffs? I just think they could kind of tighten things up, streamline it a little bit to just kind of keep it on the top of everybody's minds. I just think maybe the sporting fan in general might be kind of losing a little bit because the NFL playoffs are going, and that kind of is dominating the sports scene and, everything else that's going on as well. I'm not sure the NBA is grabbing a lot of attention right now, but college I mentioned this last week. Here we are we've started conference play in college basketball, and the SEC is hot and heavy, but we're still playing college football. That's never happened before.
And the SEC is probably as good as it's ever been in basketball, and people are missing it, So it's tough. And it's your point. It's a good point about the NFL. They're also having to compete with the NFL. You want great, viewership and dollars that come from this college football national championship game. But if you played on the same day as the NFL, now you're kind of competing for eyes. And so I'm sure that plays a role into why they scheduled it the way that they did. So, but they could lose a bye week, but I think you have to give the players extra time after the last game. So I think you still are going to end up, kind of in this late January, February time period, no matter how you skin it, because when you take one way, they're going to ask for more time to heal up on the back end. So
correct. Yeah. Which is a big thing. I don't think John pays that much. Heal up. What? They're young. Come on. Give me a break.
Once you get to week 7 of an SEC season, you need a break. You need to heal up. Trust me.
Well, CJ, as always, man, we appreciate your time. We look forward to next week when we recap the national championship game and kind of break that down and kind of look ahead as well to the 2025 season. Man, we always appreciate you being a part of what we do here with Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News.
Guys, it's a pleasure. Love what you all are doing. I'm looking forward to next week.
I am too. We need a recap. We'll get ready. We'll fire the questions away then, CJ, and appreciate you being with us. Thanks a bunch.
Thank y'all. Have a good day.
You too, buddy. Great stuff. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, joining us here today on the program. I never knew that just one little word would cause such a stir. Should I have phrased it differently? Should I have not used the word fatigue? Am I there again? Maybe that's not the right word. I'm impatient. I'm impatient, Barry.
Yeah, there is no doubt about it. Believe me, 28 years with this guy.
What are we waiting on?
Yeah, it's exactly right. Come on, let's go. And I'm thinking, John, we're at SEC Media Days. The lady's bringing us the water as quickly as she can. Come on, she had to go get extra ice. Give her a break. She's like 80. Come on, just a little patience would be good. Anyway, our visit with CJ Duncan is always like found money. It's always really, really good stuff, and we appreciate it. We'll be back in just a moment. Yep. We've got the wheel going on. We got a lot to get to here.
Lot to.
He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Heads or tails, kick or receive, with the wind or against the wind. Buy your friend a Bud Light. Buy a stranger a Bud Light. Go to your team's bar. Go to the opposing team's bar. Buy a round during the next truck commercial. Buy a round during the next talking duck commercial. If you're truly up for whatever this weekend, grab the perfect beer for whatever happens. Crisp, refreshing Bud Light. Make 2 plans and let the NFL coin toss make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Okay, about 9 minutes to the top of the hour. I got to tell you, Barry, I'm a little concerned. We've had a lot of people on the River Region Straw chat line asking about where is Bob from Pike Road? Is Danny from Margaritaville? I do not know. We have not heard a lot from them since the Alabama loss to Michigan in the Rely Quest Bowl. Maybe they're getting over that. I'm not sure, but I'm almost getting to the point where I'm a little concerned. I hope everything's okay.
Just to get us reassured, because I think that their participation curtailed a little bit after the Iron Bowl, because Auburn's season was done, and that's the vast majority of their content.
Yeah,
is dealing with Auburn and disaster on the pasture and all the stuff that Danny does. But we did notice that they were there. They were lurking.
Yeah.
On the chat line. But man, since December the 31st, when
tough.
Alabama took that 19-13 loss in a game they never led against a 7-5 team that was missing a jillion starters or whatever. Nothing. I know it was. It's not us. I know they love us.
Oh, yeah.
And they
Can't
love
be.
the content and everything. It's not like Barry said this and my feelings are hurt and I'm never going to grace their yeah, right, whatever. So just a quick word from them if they're listening and watching, and I know they are. I want to know what you think. Hey, you can talk about the Obs. Bring us a disaster on the pasture take. Talk about freeze warning and all of that, Danny, if you want to. We just want to hear from you now.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
Just a little concerned, no doubt about it. Bear, I'm told Alabama had scored 70 or more points in 53 straight games until last night.
Yeah, they scored 70 in every game this year. I did know that. And if you were to go over, again, in case you're just joining us, Alabama loses at home by 10 to Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss is pretty good. I mean, they're top 20. But you would not figure that if Alabama was going to break a 53-game streak of scoring at least 70 points, it wasn't going to be against them. Well, it was, and they deserved it, and they didn't play well. Alabama was a 12.5-point favorite in that game, and they lose by 10. A couple of notes, a couple of numbers about that game. Again, it was at home.
Yeah, it was.
They Ole Miss got up 23 more shots than Alabama did. They shot 70 times. Alabama shot 47.
Man.
To put that into context, Alabama relies upon getting the ball up and down the court, getting in position, either shooting a three or penetrating, driving and dishing and setting up a three. And if they don't guard the drive to the bucket, then you'll dunk or lay it up. They take a lot of shots. To be outshot by 23 is unconscionable. And of course, the fact they probably only got up 47 shots, in part because they turned it over 21 times. 21 times is way, way, way too many if you're a top 5 team and you're playing at home against anybody out there.
Yeah, that, we'll see. Maybe was that just, a kind of a one and done type of game. I'm not so sure.
Call. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Like I said, they got a tough trip to Lexington coming up on Saturday. It'd be big if they could go on the road and win there. We'll see. But, I don't want to say I told you so, but there's just something about this team that I saw early on. And there again, maybe it's not fair because I'm comparing them to Auburn. Those are the two teams I watch the most. And Auburn's currently the number 1 team in college basketball, and they deserve it. They really look good. They play team basketball. They're deep. They play well on both ends of the floor. I don't see the lapses in Auburn like I see in Alabama. Can Alabama get it corrected before March? Sure they can.
No doubt.
But I hadn't seen anything since November that has indicated to me that they are.
Tobias, he brings this up. He said Alabama is the Jameis Winston of basketball. Too many turnovers.
Hey, I hadn't stolen any crab legs yet, I don't believe.
I knew that was going to be next. Again, if anybody has heard from Bob from Pike Road or Danny from Margaritaville, is it shame? Listen, we are non-judgmental here most of the time. If you are not checking in with us because you're ashamed of your football team, don't be. Come on. They've won championships.
Sure.
5 years ago, they won a national championship in a COVID year, and they've been, they've won.
Golly, it's been
they've
5
won
years?
so much. You don't need to be ashamed of them, fellas.
Somebody said that Danny's working the breakfast shift at Lambert's.
Yeah,
throwing rolls.
Yeah. Because he lives down there.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be content. Just check in with us. It doesn't have to be content on a River Region Straw chat line. And it certainly, John, doesn't have to be content of the high quality that we're getting from Dennis Mitchell.
You saw it. Unbelievable.
I don't even know what he's talking about, and I can't get enough of it. It's just like, it sounds good. It's like, let's say it's, what's Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight?
Sure,
I think it was the first rap. I can't get most of the words to it, but I love the song, right? Dennis gives us this gem to one of our great subscribers, John Midkiff. Love that guy. Dennis says, and again, no punctuation. Dennis says, John Midkiff, do you know a lady named Terry? She would go to the wrestling matches at the Montgomery Civic Center late 1980s, 1985 to 1989 time frame. She wore a hat and she had a great figure.
Oh, whoa, Dennis.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love the fact that, hey, do you remember a lady from 40 years ago that used to sit in the stands at the Montgomery Civic Center? Wore a hat, had a great figure.
I doubt she's got a great figure today. I'm going to roll the dice there and say sure, that figure from 40 years ago is not as tight and sharp and curvy as it was back then, Dennis. But what do I know?
I'm sure. But, it's just that. It's just Dennis going old school wrestling fans. I don't care what she looked like, to be honest with you, whether she had a great figure, whether her face did not live up to the voluptuousness of her figure, whatever. Some of you guys out there, you got a lady at the wrestling matches.
Yeah, that's strong.
What else are you looking for? Knock, knock. That's opportunity right there. The ladies at the wrestling matches, they are.
Remember that older lady, kind of looked like a grandmother that was always on the front row screaming and yelling at the guys in the ring?
Yeah.
You don't get that much anymore.
Always smelled like an ashtray.
Yes.
During
the event back then, I think you could. Back when you could actually smoke on an airplane. Dennis also, look at this. Dennis goes from that bear to he's praying for the people in California and North Carolina. And then he asked, do you remember Fred Ward and Jim Carlisle? I believe Fred Ward was an actor.
Yeah, he played in this movie with Joel Grey where he was some sort of a superhero kind of guy. Fred Ward played in a lot of good stuff.
Then
He's
he
no
says,
longer with us, but yes.
Barry, knowledge is power. I mean, that's what you get from Dennis.
And he also says, God doesn't make junk. Again, I don't know what that's in context about. I don't know if that's just a general, very truthful pronouncement or what generated that. But Theotis said, Chris the Bammer said, is Dennis saying there's no such thing as an ugly woman? No, I don't think that's what he's saying, Chris, because I don't think I think I put this on social media one time. It's like the doctor said in Doctor Who. I've been around 900 years of time and travel, and I've never seen a person who wasn't important. I'm not saying there's some every person has value. Every person is a child of God. But there are ugly women out there. I'm just saying.
There are. There's no doubt.
Not that does not decrease their value.
No, it doesn't.
There are some ladies out there who are not attractive.
You're right about that. You're exactly right. But hey, they do the best with what they've got. How about that? And we know Dennis's high, critiquing. I mean, he has got a list of what it takes to go out on a date with Dennis Mitchell, and it's tough. You got to meet every one of those bullet points to get a date with Dennis, and he's revealed those to us before.
Yeah. Going Dutch. Let me see. Yeah, Going Dutch is one of them.
Gotta like the Huddle House.
The Huddle House. Huddle House. Yeah, Huddle House is that.
Gotta like wrestling.
Gotta like the fried shrimp at Huddle House.
Yeah.
No kids. He
probably not. No kids. Got to go to church, which is very important. Dennis. Yeah, I know that was part of the list.
Yeah. So and it's a long list. I mean, it's not just one or two things and he's good to go. So
now Theotis says he never went to a wrestling match in Montgomery. He would go to the wrestling matches in Columbus, Georgia. I had a friend that was in a wrestling match in Columbus and got arrested. Actually went to jail in Columbus. Somebody accused him of something he did not do. And I'll be the first to tell. I wasn't there, but I know he didn't do it. But some female claimed that he did, threw him in jail, but everything turned out okay. I don't think he ever went back to Columbus again. I can't remember the last time I was in Columbus now that I think about it. But why go to wrestling in Columbus? Was it a bigger draw and they have bigger matches? Well, what's up with that? I don't get it. I've heard Dennis talk about going to Columbus.
The Columbus Civic Center is about 300 yards away from the Alabama state line. I mean, it's easy access. It's actually pretty nice. They have redone a lot of that. They're redoing Golden Park, the Memorial Stadium where they play football is okay. And the Columbus Civic Center is really nice. Probably most well known for three things. One of them is professional wrestling. They know how to put on a show.
I did not know that.
Civic Center. Yeah. Number two, Jim Fife used to do play-by-play of the Columbus War Dogs in the what they call
Arena League.
AFL 2, which was the Arena Football League 2. And number 3, our buddy Mike V, who we worked with for many years ago, used to do hockey play-by-play for the Columbus, I can't even think, Cottonmouths. The Columbus Cottonmouths in hockey. I mean, they had it going on in the Columbus Civic Center.
I don't know what year it was, early 80s, when I was at Jeff Davis High School. We had a hard time scheduling games. People didn't want to play us.
Because Jeff Davis was rolling.
Really good. And we'd have to play our region games and whatnot. But when out of region, we had a hard time getting people to play us. So one year we played a school in Columbus. I believe the name of it was Hardaway.
Yes.
High school.
Hardaway High School in Columbus. Yes.
And so we roll over to Columbus. We bus over there on the trailways. And the stadium, I remember, it was old. It had been there. It wasn't as old as the stadium when we went to Mobile to play Blunt High School, and I swear they filmed the first Longest Yard movie in that stadium. I mean, it looked just like it. Yeah, it looked just no. This was the one right off the interstate when you're going down 65.
Oh, the one over there, like by Pritchard. Yeah, Pritchard exit.
Yes.
Where Viger plays.
Yeah, maybe it was Viger. Maybe that's who we were playing. I thought it was Blunt, but it was Viger. I'm thinking, we're playing here?
I'm not sure.
I mean, we're going, gee whiz. But the one in Columbus, I just remember being, man, this place is old. And is that where Auburn played back in the day? Didn't they play in Columbus?
They used to play the Auburn-Georgia game in Columbus.
Was it? I wonder if it was that stadium.
It had to be. Had to be, yes. Which is right on that same drag with, again, the baseball field and the Coliseum.
Yeah.
That's where they have the Columbus softball complex where they played Olympic softball in 1996. So
real quick before we get off this topic, though, one of the best games we ever played when I was at Jeff Davis Berry, we went to Fort Walton and played Choctawhatchee High School on a Saturday night. And I mean, the place was, I think they were like number 3 in the state of Florida. JD was number 1 in Alabama.
Had it rolling.
It was packed. I don't think I've ever been at a high school football game with that many people. And Choctawhatchee had a really nice stadium. And we went down there and beat them 21-0, beat the dog out of them. And I'll never forget at the end of the game, Charles Lee's going to midfield to coach to shake the hands of the Choctawhatchee head coach. And I just happened to be standing near him. And I heard the Choctawhatchee coach say to Coach Charles Lee, "You will never play us again."
For some reason, I just happened to be standing near him.
Yeah.
He made it his business on the sidelines to be near Coach Lee, just in case Mike Turk turned an ankle or say, "Hey, Coach."
Never happened.
Lee never had to.
I don't think Mike Turk has ever
search for John. John was like right there.
Barry, I don't think Turk's ever had a runny nose or a sore throat. I mean, the guy never gets sick, never got hurt, nothing. Healthiest guy on the planet.
Unbelievable. And finally, before we get off and move ahead, maybe to the topic wheel.
Yep.
There's this gem, and it is a gem from Ty from just 2 minutes ago. Ty says this, John. I never saw any wrestling matches when I was there, but my roommate in college used to date a mud wrestler at Spud's Lounge in Opelika. She was smoking hot. Now, I've been to Spud's Lounge in Opelika. I actually had to, I was the MC for, this is working at the radio station. I was an MC for an Elvis show. A guy named Steve Christopher had every Elvis record ever was. And I was the MC, and the fans were singing, all the girls were singing the refrain from Suspicious Minds. Woo!
Yeah, oh yeah.
And that was at Spud's Lounge in Opelika, right off the 280 exit off I-85. You got to, this is a guy who's in college, and everybody behind him as he walks through the room says, man, that guy dates that mud wrestler over at Spud's Lounge. That girl? Wow. Instant respect when you're in college and you're dating the mud wrestler, one of the mud wrestlers at Spud's Lounge in Opelika. You have Tom Tuttle from Tacoma in the background.
Man, that is
saying, I'm a lean, mean fighting machine. With Bill Murray, like in Stripes.
I don't know what was worse. I never participated in any of it, but mud wrestling or Jello wrestling. I mean, the mud wrestling speaks for itself. It's dirty. You know no telling where that mud's going, but that Jello's got to get sticky and
yeah.
I don't know.
No mud wrestling.
I wouldn't mind watching it. I don't want to partake in it.
No.
But yeah, man,
seems
dating
unsanitary.
It does kind of. I'm with you. But dating a hot mud wrestler from a bar in Opelika
when you're still in college,
awesome.
You know?
Yeah.
Forget about that freshman Phi Mu who looks kind of cute, with her pinafores and her Mary Jane shoes and everything. A mud wrestler at Spud's Lounge?
How many, Jello is water soluble, Theotis. Good point.
Theotis brings up the science of Jello wrestling. Thank you, Theotis. Appreciate it.
How many women were in the ring with John Candy in Stripes? Because he was he got in the mud wrestling.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He did. And Bill Murray was his handler over there. He's a lean, mean fighting machine. I remember John Candy made one of the ladies cry.
What was his name in the movie?
I want to say it was Tom Tuttle from Tacoma. Am I right?
Okay,
Is that right?
And he didn't want to go in and
no. That was another movie. That was the movie Volunteers with Tom Hanks. In Stripes, he was. No, that's Dewey Oxberger. I'm getting.
Somebody's gonna tell us. I can see it coming on
there.
I can see it coming on the chat line here, sponsored by River Region Straw. But I remember Bill Murray kind of persuade, come on, you can do it. Go on. No, I don't want to do it. Yeah, come on. And he finally went in and went,
you can do it. You can
do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. Yeah,
now,
we're gonna. Hey, Robbie's up. Robbie's
this is
in.
Good news. Robbie's
up.
Woken up, cracked his knuckles, and he said Alabama front rimmed shots and turned ball over early. He turned it up over early. They turned it over in the middle of the game. They turned it over at the end of the game. That was the worst offensive performance of the season. Some folks attribute it to a 3-hour bloodbath at Texas A&M late Saturday night. The Aggies fell at Kentucky.
Did somebody hijack Robbie's computer? That just doesn't sound like something Robbie would type out. I mean, he's never negative, particularly about teams he likes. Alabama, Pittsburgh Steelers,
Florida State. Yeah.
He seems a little upset about last night's performance.
Worst performance of this season, the bloodbath against Texas A&M. Robbie, love you, disagree with you. Was it a bloodbath against Texas A&M? I mean, did anybody run? Did anybody exert themselves for more than, say, 45 seconds at a time before you lined up on the lane line and shot a free throw or two?
Not good.
I mean, it was that. Theoda says his name was Ox. Yeah, it was Dewey Oxberger, the Ox on Stripes. I don't know if they had just a hard time getting over the win at Texas A&M. I know it was physical and everything, but in terms of wearing you out or something, no, too many free throws. I mean, how often can you get worn out shooting 15-foot stationary jumpers?
I'm with you. I get it there. Theotis, no, we do not need Stripes 2. That's like Blues Brothers 2, which was terrible.
Like Caddyshack 2, which was abomination.
Blues Brothers was on the other day. It's a classic. The second one, terrible. Yeah, Stripes, just leave it alone. You don't need another Stripes.
Yeah. John Goodman should have never touched.
I mean, it's like Trading Places. You can't have another Trading Places. As a matter of fact, they don't make movies like that anymore anyway.
Yeah.
Whew. And man, Jamie Lee Curtis, wow.
You could never make Trading Places these days. Heck, you could never make Summer School with Mark Harmon, which was a classic as well anymore. You got a high school student named Chainsaw. They're not going to do that. Robbie says, Alabama played strong half-court defense.
They did?
They let Ole Miss get 70 shots up, but Ole Miss dominated the offensive glass. Ole Miss had 8 offensive rebounds. 8. It wasn't as though they were the Bruise Brothers in the Detroit Pistons era. Bama had been a strong offensive rebounding team all year.
So, Barry, if you got the number,
didn't play well. 21 turnovers, Robbie.
Yeah, one thing that you touched on earlier, and I just I overlooked it in my disgust in watching the game and how it played out in terms of turnovers and things of that nature, and just kind of half-assing it up and down the floor. How many fouls were called? I know we talked about the A&M game. There were 58 fouls called in that game, 88 free throw attempts.
88 free throws, yes.
Well, does the stat sheet tell us what happened in that category last night? Number of fouls called in the game?
Ole Miss was whistled for the game for 21 fouls.
Okay.
Alabama was whistled for 16. So there were 37 foul calls in that game. Again,
still too many
free throws in the 88 free throws in the first game. In this game, they shot 42. So, and you're right. That is too many.
Today, I'm going to try to look it up, what the average number of fouls are that are called in an NBA game. And I can tell you this, fouling out in the NBA, not going to happen. Foul out, that happens like twice a year with every player. But I wonder what the average number of fouls called in an NBA game are.
I don't know. Chris,
20?
Chris the Bama,
maybe.
Well, you got 48 minutes. I would say maybe it may be higher than that. Chris the Bammer's had enough. He says, no excuse, Robbie. They sucked. That was after Robbie said Alabama has played a difficult non-conference schedule.
Oh.
They had heavy legs, and it showed up Tuesday night.
Robbie.
Maybe that's true. I'm not saying that's not true because they have played a difficult schedule. But Robbie, that ain't stopping. That ain't going away. Guess what? They play at Rupp on Saturday. They've still got Tennessee on their schedule. They got Ole Miss again. They've got Auburn a couple of times and everything. If you're saying, boy, that really difficult non-conference schedule caught up with them, guess what? The schedule's getting harder now.
It is.
So if that's the reason why they didn't play well last night, then it's going to be a rough stretch coming up. Because
when we get back, we are going to go to the wheel. Chris, just be patient. Hold on. This is a non-sports topic that I'm just going to throw out there real quick because we were kind of talking about the 80s earlier, the greatest decade since we've been alive. And we've been alive, 6 decades, I guess. So the 80s, great decade. And every year when they have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, I'm always interested to see who's getting inducted.
Right.
And then HBO, a couple of months after it, will show the ceremony. And I saw a clip of it yesterday. There's a group from the 80s. I couldn't believe it was not already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm going to tell you who they are when we get back.
It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
January is a great time to shop Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, where you can save up to $20,000 off MSRP or 4.9% APR for 72 months on a 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn. And Stivers is Alabama's largest volume Ram dealer. And there's a reason, because Price sells Ram trucks. Also up to $17,000 off MSRP on a 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee. How about up to $17,000 off MSRP for a 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sierra, and up to $20,000 off MSRP on a 2024 Jeep Gladiator. Folks, this is just a few of the many great deals going on right now at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville on Cobbs Ford Road, where Price sells cars and trucks.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. Already back at it here, 20 minutes past the hour here on a Wednesday, hour number 2, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with our friends at Yellow Hammer News. Check it out at yellowhammernews.com for all the latest news, lifestyle, sports, you name it. They've got it. Of course, a lot of political content as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yellowhammernews.com. And there, of course, is a write-up about us each and every afternoon at yellowhammernews.com. Kind of a brief wrap-up of what we did on the program with some video content, so check it out.
Now,
Okay.
maybe every once in a while, I say everyone, every time that they spotlight our daily show at yellowhammernews.com, they have at least one clip, one feature clip of the day. You see it a lot of times on our Instagram account, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. One clip for today that kind of is a hot button clip. I think it might be this one coming up. So, guys, if you are clipping the particular feature for our social media presence today, go ahead and click edit in 3, 2, 1.
Boom. So I stumbled upon the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and I've always been interested in who's getting in, who got left out, this, that, and the other.
John and I are rockers now. I mean, we follow, believe me.
And in some of them, I'm going, Joni Mitchell, what? But anyway, I guess they got to spread it out a little bit.
Well, I've never been a big fan of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame anyway, for two big reasons. I am off the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame until Pablo Cruz.
Oh, yeah.
And Wet Willie.
Oh, Wet Willie, yeah.
I like it this year
Weekend.
that they gave Jimmy Buffett a Musical Excellence Award. I
Should
don't
yes.
like it that they did it after he's dead,
Yeah,
but
come
that's
on.
okay. But I
Yeah.
am I'm picketing.
I got
on
number
behalf of
3
Pablo
for you,
Cruz.
Barry. Why is it in Cleveland?
What
Why
is it
Cle-
about Cleveland that's rock and roll?
Yeah.
More
Who
so
wants to
than
go to
anything.
Cleveland?
Yeah. Hey, we got a big weekend planned in Cleveland. Is it
Yeah.
possible to have a big
Come
weekend
on.
planned in Cleveland if you're not my buddy Gunnar Whetstone going to a Browns game? I find it difficult.
I don't
to
know.
believe.
If I ever do go to Cleveland, I probably will go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'd like to see it. But anyway,
All right.
I'm checking it out, and I happened to stumble upon it right when they're about to introduce the next inductees. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, they're not already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I mean, so many hits in the 80s. What took them so long? Kool and the Gang.
I was wondering, it's either going to be Foreigner, which I cannot figure out why they weren't, but Kool and the Gang is
Kool
in
and
the
the
Rock
Gang.
and Roll Hall of Fame as of this year.
Yeah, and I was
Should
going to
they
get to
not-
Foreigner
Should
because
they
they were
not?
good too in their performance.
Should they not have gotten in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the first year of eligibility
Yeah.
after they came out with Joanna?
Oh, man. Get down on it. Ladies'
Get down
night.
on it. Oh, my
Celebration.
gosh.
Fresh. Too hot. You kidding me?
Yeah. Fresh is also, yeah. Fresh. Exciting.
So, of course, Barry,
Oh.
Kool and the Gang, everybody thinks the lead singer is Kool.
It's cool. Nah.
But no, it's the bass player, Robert Kool Bell.
Yes.
He's the guy that started the band.
Yeah.
And he's the bass player. James JT Taylor is the lead singer.
Yes.
And they put on a performance. I mean, that stage was rocking. I mean, they had a horn section. I mean, it was, and they were singing, man, the crowd was going, I mean, the whole place was up dancing. I went, now that was what music was in the 80s, not this crap that's on now. It was stuff like Kool and the Gang, and you go to Cash's Faux Pas in Fort Walton Beach, I can promise you, they were playing a Kool and the Gang song in that place.
In the rare moment that John was just mingling at Cash's Faux Pas when the dance floor was hopping, on the rare moment that John wasn't out there, they play Celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
And immediately John puts down his rum and Coke and he starts kind of, I'm asking her, okay, here, come on. He's grabbing her. Come on, honey, let's get down. Let's shake our booties out there on the dance floor.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking, I cannot believe they are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they made it. And you mentioned Foreigner. I mean, the former lead singer of Foreigner,
Lou Gramm?
Not aged well. Lou Gramm, he is not aged well.
Yeah, I think it's a slight bit of discourteousness that they induct Foreigner in the 2024 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and their picture on the website as an inductee is directly beside another 2024 inductee, the Dave Matthews Band.
Yep, Dave Matthews. You know what?
You got to be kidding me. Dave Matthews gets in at the same time as Foreigner, who's been performing for about 30 years longer. It took Foreigner 30 years longer to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame than it did the Dave Matthews
Cold
Band.
as ice. I mean, feels like the first time. Come on. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm with you there. Now, my wife loves Dave Matthews. All his music sounds the same. It all sounds the same.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, a little of Dave goes along. I can, can't take but a little bit of that. Now, Theotis says JT, he did leave the band, and that happens a lot. But he came back, and he was actually singing he was the lead singer in the induction ceremony. Unlike when Journey got inducted, Steve Perry came back with him to get the award, but he did not sing. Arnel Pineda sang the night that they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Quick judges ruling on this. Theotis says Jay Ferguson belongs in. Yeah, you're next.
Only a 2-hit wonder. And there's the thing about Jay. It's all about with Jay Ferguson. It's Shakedown Cruise doesn't get enough run.
No,
that's a great tune.
Island
Thunder Island gets all the run.
That's a shame.
Yeah, because Shakedown Cruise is pretty good. But Jay Ferguson, he'll never make it. He'll I don't think Wet Willie's going to make it either, and I'm not so sure Pablo Cruz is either. Just saying.
Well, then I'm out. I am.
But you got to think Foreigner. What took Foreigner so long? They should have been in a long time ago.
I do not get it.
I don't. But Kool and the Gang is in. I believe Earth, Wind, and Fire is in.
Yeah. They're the lead singer no longer.
Yeah, true.
Maurice
I
White.
do not think the Commodores are in. Maybe Lionel Richie's in. But I don't think the Commodores are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And, of course, they were referenced in the original National Lampoon Vacation movie when Rusty said, hey, you guys know the Commodores?
Yeah, they were in taking a wrong turn.
Yeah, East St. Louis, I think, is where they were.
The Commodores are not in. They are not in. What in the world? Dave Matthews, yes. Commodores, no. I mean,
I don't get that.
Who votes for this thing?
I wonder about that too. And there's some acts that have had the opportunity to be in, and they just hadn't got. It's kind of like the Baseball Hall of Fame, I guess. I mean, there's these baseball people. Wait a minute, why isn't this guy in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I think there's some politics there and whatnot, and maybe that's the same thing that happens in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, hey, Kiss is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I remember the night they
course.
got inducted.
Yep. My good buddy Dave Cohen, the play-by-play voice of Georgia State. He's about my age. He's been the voice of Georgia State for about 40-something years. Very good, solid guy, salt of the earth. He has been to, I think, 89 Kiss concerts.
Oh,
He
man.
is Kiss, obsessed with Kiss. It's awesome. Let's take a break.
Yep, let's do it. Wait, is this true, or is Theotis just tell Earth, Wind, and Fire went in on the 21st of September? I ain't believing that, Theotis.
That's not true.
Come on.
21st night, September. Yeah, he's going lyrics on us here.
Wait a minute, Styx? See, now we've opened up a can of worms, Barry. Ty wants to know, is Styx, REO Speedwagon, and Iron Maiden in?
Iron Maiden is a good reference there. Iron Maiden. Was that the one with Rob Fulford was the lead singer? All right.
And I'm with you, Theotis. Most of Styx stuff is crap. I've never been a Styx fan. No offense to Tommy Shaw from Montgomery.
No, but Dennis DeYoung killed
Terrible.
that band dead.
Yeah.
Killed it dead.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's Iron Maiden is not in. Styx.
I don't think they're in.
I forget. I almost get the other. No. They have they have not made it as of yet.
And REO Speedwagon, I think they just broke up again or something.
Yeah, they.
I do think Judas Priest is in. I want to say Judas Priest.
Yeah, that's the one with Rob Fulford was their lead singer.
Is Alice Cooper? Alice Cooper should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He is not.
Come on.
Yeah. So we're not going to go down this entire thing.
No.
Because we've got to take a break because Chris the Bammer is about to have a corner. It's for the wheel in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024, Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, we are back at it on this Wednesday, about 28 minutes to the top of the hour. Of course, Barry on location with Troy basketball in Monroe, Louisiana. Will you be in Monroe tomorrow as well?
Yes. Yeah. We play tonight, 6:30 against ULM. Stay over and then leaving tomorrow for Mobile, where we play on Saturday.
Well, I believe I will be in Prattville tomorrow at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, so we'll both be kind of on the road, so to speak. I just won't be as far away from network control as Barry will be, but I'll be up there at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram telling you about all the great deals in the preferred community of Prattville, Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells cars. I'll be there tomorrow doing the program. All right, Chris, who is, at last I checked, and maybe Gern can pop it up on the screen again, the Longshore and McKnight Bowl Prediction Contest. We've got our leader C.D. Powell, which is in first place. He's got Notre Dame winning it.
Yeah.
There's the screenshot of CD in first place. You can see all on the far right column, all the red. Those are the teams that were picked to win the championship that have been eliminated. And if you scroll, and of course we just took a screenshot, but when you scroll down, I think it's 38th position is Chris the Bammer, who has got Ohio State winning it. And if you go to the other couple of pages, it's just those guys are too far down of all the people that got in. So to me, and I'm no, math genius, even though I did make an A in finite math, to me, Barry, it's a two-horse race between C.D. Powell and Chris the Bammer.
You're right. It all depends on who wins it. If it's Notre Dame, it's Mr. Powell.
Yep.
If it's Ohio State, it's Mr. Bammer. So, check it out.
Whoever wins the contest, Barry, we will be out at Montgomery Regional Airport on Thursday, the 23rd, which I guess is a week from tomorrow. My calendar, that seems about right. A week from tomorrow, as we broadcast this program live from MGM, and we will be picking up the winner's travel voucher. Yep, $1,000 travel voucher from the Montgomery Regional Airport, getting better the more you use it. So there again, I'm thinking it's going to be one of those two guys, but you never know. So I'm not going to go ahead and stick my head out, but looking forward to presenting that travel voucher where they'll be able to go wherever they want to. Take a friend with them.
That's right. We're looking forward to that announcement. Just like we're looking forward to the Quincy's 777 Victoryland topic wheel.
Cannot wait.
We got through it yesterday.
We did. All right. Well, it's kind of slowly moving, but Gern's going to give it a big spin, and let's see what comes up. A lot of green on the wheel today, I see.
Different shades.
And this is going to be trophy. Trophy. What kind of trophy? Not
this
a participation trophy.
This means my wife D.
Yes.
Maybe not. Okay. Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I doubt that's a reference, but that's what I think.
Certainly.
Okay.
I had somebody say that to my wife a couple of years ago. She didn't seem to like that too much. So then I explained it to her. Yeah. Okay. I explained it to her. She kind of went, whatever.
How often does she say that, huh?
Yeah. I said, well, honey, it's better than.
Does he hear those words?
It's better than somebody calling you, hey, it's an honorable mention ribbon, so yeah, at least it's better than that. Trophy.
Yes.
We're not talking about participation trophies, which drive me insane. When my kids used to get them, that we weren't even out of the YMCA yet, and they'd thrown it in the trash can. I'm going, excellent. Definitely a child of mine. So we're not talking about participation trophies. We're talking about the Natty, and that is Monday in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Last I looked, Ohio State is still a big favorite in this game, and I certainly understand why. Larry, again, we talked about it earlier. I like watching Notre Dame. Didn't think I'd ever say that, but they're a disciplined football team. But, Barry, I don't think discipline's going to win you the national championship on Monday.
Here's what's, again, Monday night, 6:30, ESPN. I've got Ohio State minus 8.5 over under at 46.5. I'm starting to hear this more and more about Ohio State, the more run they get. Well, they're the best team money can buy. Well, all Ohio State did was go out and buy players and all that. So what?
Yeah.
So what? So let's dance. There's no asterisk there.
Not at all.
There's no later on where the NCAA will revisit and say, we've investigated all of these claims of buying players, and we find that they are groundless, like they did in 2010.
Whoa, wait a minute. I just picked up on that. Oh,
it's all,
yeah.
I waited like 4 seconds, and I'm thinking, here he is coming around the mountain here, and it hits him. There's nothing wrong with it.
Huh.
There's nothing wrong with it. I believe C.J. Duncan when he says you want to have a bunch of guys who are pursuing the common goal, and when it's fourth down and you've got to have the conversion late in the national championship game, and you're looking at the guy to the left of you on the line and the guy to the right of you on the line, and you have been sweating and bleeding and dreaming and about being in this position for good old Notre Dame. John, that's got to mean something a little bit more than some guy who is just here this year, and he's looking at the guy to the left of him, and he's saying, that guy makes $8,000 a month more in NIL than I do. Golly, that guy over, man, I didn't even know him 4 months ago. And that's got to have an impact, right?
I don't think it does. And it kind of, there again, this all about, man, it's revenge and these guys are motivated. Yeah, that first hit in the mouth and that revenge is out the window. I mean, you're playing football then. Yeah. And it's kind of like, it's kind of like baseball. They've got this period where, I don't know if it's free. I don't know what it is. Sometime during the season, and there's the deadline for maybe trades or whatever, or making some moves. Well, say this team is making a stretch run. They need one more closer, and they get some hot pitching guy. And the next thing you know, you're in the World Series. I don't think anybody's going, oh, wait a minute. This guy wasn't in spring training with us, and he wasn't having to go on that long road trip in May when we were in Seattle, LA, San Diego, and Denver. What's up with this? No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter in baseball, doesn't matter in college football these days.
For the fans of the programs who have fallen short this year of making the national championship, if this is your way of kind of easing your pain, well, they just bought a team. Well, there's no rule against it. They are playing by the rules. They are taking advantage of their opportunities and of their financial resources. And number two, your team that fell short, you had those same opportunities. Maybe you spent for the wrong guys or something like that. There was a chat earlier from somebody, and I can't go back and look at it because it was early in the program. It might have been Tobias. If it's not Tobias, I apologize because it was incredible. It said, the only reason why Caleb Downs is at Ohio State now is because Nick Saban retired. Boys, you don't think maybe tripling his NIL money had something to do with it?
I'll say this. I saw that too. I think it was Tobias. I'm not so. I think something would have been done to keep Caleb Downs in Tuscaloosa if Saban was there.
In that context, I can maybe see it, but it was going to have to be a lot. And again, a school like Ohio State, they can afford to spend it and get whoever they want without worrying too much about a cap or a budget or anything like that. At a school like Auburn, which has plenty of resources, one of the reasons why they're thinking, well, if we get Cam Ward at quarterback, we're going to have to pay him 1.8. That means we're probably going to be able to pay this guy what we want or something like that. Saban, with a guy like Caleb Downs, who is the truth, they might have gone over budgetary propriety to get him. But the only reason why he's at Ohio State is not because.
Well, and then again, that window opened. It was a lot because of Saban leaving.
Right. Yeah, you have.
So you had that opportunity as well. But I think there's players, and probably Saban knew this. There are some players out there that people are going to be coming after him. I mean, people are scared about Ryan Williams and people going after him. I think going into it, this guy is really, really good. I know he's good. Probably everybody else does too. And we got to find a way to keep him. And I think that's what we're looking at. And you're right. I mean, it's a big money game. I mean, keeping guys around for $180,000, those days are over. Not going to happen anymore.
$180,000 drop in the bucket nowadays.
Those days are over.
5 years from now, I don't care how much you guys raise the dust or try to rattle the chains or anything like that. 5 years from now, Ohio State fans aren't going to look back and say, man,
that's right.
That 2024 championship, it would have been great if we had just got them for the pure love of Ohio State instead of paying them. No, they ain't going to say that.
Could care less.
It's going to say Ohio State on the Natty Trophy, and that's good enough for them.
You know, you're right, Barry. Things have definitely changed. I mean, the days of telling someone's father they cannot come watch their son play, you can't do that anymore. No,
Oh, yeah.
that can't happen. 180 grand. Kickers are making that. Come on. No way.
John keeps bringing that up as though Cecil Newton was prohibited, like he had some sort of a restraining order. Oh,
Didn't he?
went to the SEC championship game in Atlanta. He's not supposed to do that. He can go anywhere he wants to. He can go to Auburn. He just couldn't go inside this stadium and
See,
watch
you
his
can't
son
do that
play
anymore.
in Auburn. It's not like
Yeah.
you couldn't go like ever for the rest of his existence.
You know, back in 2010, you could do that. Now, can't do it. Can't do it. Where is
Different day and age.
Cecil Newton? We hadn't talked about him in a while.
15 years ago is why. 15 years. Of course, we're talking about Pablo Cruz and Wet Willie. So
Well, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, Gern, what's next on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel here on a Wednesday? Let's spin around and round. Man, I bet Chris is going, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Oh,
I was wondering about this one. I saw it on the wheel, and I'm thinking, what in the world?
Now,
does
speaking of
Turn It
music,
Up have
Barry,
anything to do with?
I know the song. I should know the group because it played in heavy rotation on MTV. The song was called Turn Up the Radio. God, who did that?
You don't remember?
I don't. Wasn't Uriah Heep or somebody like that, was it?
It was Autograph.
Autograph.
Yeah. It was. Because you get Warrant,
and
Poison, and Winger, and Megadeth, and all. I get those kind of all mixed up. It's kind of like one thing, but Autograph. That song is dated a little bit. Because,
it is.
I don't think they ever did anything
Who
else.
did Electric Blue? That wasn't Autograph, was it?
No, that's a good one.
Electric Blue. That was another heavy rotation on MTV. All right, so turn it up. All right, people have accused me over the years that
Ice House did Electric
Ice
Blue.
House. Yeah, they sure did. So they've accused me over the years of saying, in the regular season, maybe they're not playing as hard. Doc NBA and I had a lengthy discussion about this years ago, mainly in the NBA, but I've kind of sensed it in the NFL from time to time. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't know, whatever. But there's no doubt when the postseason rolls around, they are turning it up in the NFL. You saw it in the games on Wild Card Weekend, and I think in the divisional games coming up, it's going to be even better. This is, to me, when there again, I know it's a long regular season. Maybe there's some weeks that, guys aren't all checked in. But when it comes to the playoffs, they seem to all be checked in.
And the quality of play is that much better, not just because they're better teams, obviously, that are left, but because there's higher stakes. Still can't understand why McDonald for the Vikings went for it on 4th down and 2 at his own 38-yard line. He wouldn't do that in week 5 against the Cardinals.
No.
But he's thinking, holy smokes, we got to do something here. This is the playoffs. It's the live and move on or lose and go home aspect of it that makes the level of play better. It makes the decision-making from the coaches that much more important. It's just there's more of a sense that more is riding on every snap than it is in a week 5 game against the Carolina Panthers, you take more chances. And if that's the case, I like Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions.
Oh, yeah.
I think against the Commanders, where they open up, this is a nice little path they've got. Could you imagine the Lions playing in the Super Bowl, which they have never done before?
And they're the favorites.
Yeah.
They're the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year, and they've one of the few NFL teams that have never been to a Super Bowl. They're not many.
No.
They're one of them. They are one that has never made it to this. Cleveland Browns are another. Trying to think who the others are. I know Cleveland and
the Texans
Detroit
have not. There are only 2 teams in the divisional round that have that have never made the Super Bowl. The Texans and the Lions.
Detroit.
Everybody else, and I'm counting the Commanders. The Commanders, they were the Redskins and they went. So
yeah, they sure did. speaking of the turning it up, how many times in a regular season game do you see an extra point blocked and then run back for 2 points, as we saw in the Texans game the other night?
Never see it.
I thought
see it.
When that play happened, I went, I don't think I've ever seen that in an NFL game before.
One of the reasons why it did is just what you're talking about. They're playing harder. You know the extra point block team. They try to – you got guys making hundreds of thousands of dollars on a roster spot in the NFL, and all they do is they go out there for the kickoff, which is always a touchback, but they get to run, 40 yards downfield at full speed. So you get to go out there, you run downfield, it's always a touchback, and you go back to the sidelines. And the guy on the extra point block team. And all they're doing is,
awesome.
But not in the playoffs. Where
not in the
every play
playoffs.
Matters,
Little
on the extra point block team.
Different. And, the Phantom, I believe, will have some comments about the divisional round on Friday. I'm not sure where the Phantom's going to be delivering that information, but I do understand it'll be here. It's kind of like the mailman. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Phantom's got to show up. All right.
I don't know if he's around, but I know he's going to be there.
Yeah. Chris says he's getting anxious to spin it again. I think Chris thinks we can't get through the wheel in the next 10 minutes. I promise, Chris, we're going to do it. All right, spin the wheel. Our Victoryland 777 topic wheel. You can be a winner 2 exit 22 off I-85 shorter, Alabama. Warn me. And it's interesting that Barry has got a baseball cap on today doing the broadcast. I thought about this. It kind of hit me yesterday afternoon. I'm thinking, isn't this about the time all these baseball geeks get all excited about, pitchers and catchers are going to show up and the spring training starts in X amount of days and blah, 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 blah. When that happens, can you give me a little warning instead of just hitting me with it across the face? Just let me know what's coming.
I will do it on one condition, that you tell me who the World Series champions are right now. Champions of the world, Major League Baseball.
I'm going to take a shot here. Is it the Dodgers?
There you go.
Yeah. Because I know they beat the Braves. What was the Dodgers and the Yankees were in the World Series?
Yes.
It was you're talking about, the networks loved it. Now I don't know how many games it went though, but I do know the Dodgers won.
The reporting day for most teams because you got spring training in Florida, you got spring training in Arizona, the Cactus League, the Grapefruit League. The Cubs and the Dodgers open up the season with a 2-game series in Japan. That's in March.
What?
And they're going to be the first 2 National League teams to report, therefore, because they play earlier. The Cubs will show up February 9th. John, that is 3 weeks away. Pitchers and catchers report February 9th for the Cubs. Everybody else, nobody else more than February the 11th.
Oosh. So those games.
The World Series ended in November. So John had a little bit of November, all of December, all of January, and then boom, they're right back at it. Pitchers report.
It's been awesome.
Second week of February.
So do those games in Japan count, or are they exhibition games?
No, they count.
I thought so. They did that last year, maybe when you were.
Yeah,
they counted the games. Yeah,
so you can get back with the jet lag and all of that stuff. One of the favorites in the National League this upcoming year, the Atlanta Braves.
Well, hey, duh.
They report Wednesday, February the 12th, which is 20.
Well, Barry, I want to go through before I make my I could go the easy route and say, the Braves will make the playoffs and they're out in the first round. That's like saying somebody will go 8-4 in football. But I'm going to kind of go through spring training, hear what I hear. I got some buddies that go down to spring training in March. They go watch the Braves and some other teams. So once I find out some info from them and then just get a pulse on what it's going, I'll make my Braves prediction. But I got to tell you, it's probably going to be similar to the ones I've made over the last 15 years.
And for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
And for the remainder of recorded time.
I mean, they play in such a weak division. I mean, it's just anyway. All right.
It took John forever, like 3 years ago, to stop saying that, they got the Expos in the division.
Yeah.
How good are they? The Expos hadn't been around for
How
forever.
many games did it take for the Dodgers to win the World Series? To win it in 5? Does that ring a bell to me?
I think
maybe?
5. Yeah, I think 5.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Just don't ask me who was in the Final Four last year. I know it was Alabama, and I know it was the team that ended up winning the national championship. The other
That
two,
doesn't count.
I'm not real
Just to
sure.
call them the team that won the national championship doesn't count as you knowing who they are. Come on, give me a break. Well,
let's take a break, and then we'll
Yep.
get to we'll spin the wheel, Chris. Hold on.
Yep,
Be
in
patient.
association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry is an Alabama-based, family-owned and operated business that specializes in dry cleaning and laundry, serving the river region since 1941. There are 12 convenient locations across the river region. Find one close to you or call 481-1911 for free pickup and delivery. For 83 years, Central Alabama has trusted Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry. You should too.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to Banking Above and Beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the river region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
All right, we got a lot to get to in the next 5 minutes or so. I think we've opened up a can of worms, Barry, but my interest is killing me. I thought Bad Company was in the Hall of Fame. I could have sworn I saw them perform at an induction ceremony, but I can't swear to it.
I know Iron Maiden is not. I think Bad Company is.
I kind of think
as
so
well.
too. Yeah.
Again, Pablo Cruz.
Yeah.
Why in
man.
the world? What do they got
Yeesh.
against him?
I know it, man. When I get what is that?
When my baby smiles at me, I go to Rio.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Duran's hit Rio.
Is Duran? I'm not going to ask. Let's just move.
All right, spin the wheel, Gurn. We got to go. Chris is panicking if we can't get through. 38 special it in either, Theodis. You're right. They should be. All right, here we go. Victorland 777 topic, Will. It is T. Roy and the Trojans are on the road for the next couple of days in men's basketball.
Yeah, needing to get back on the winning track after losing 2 at home, shockingly, over the weekend. Tonight, Troy at ULM in Monroe, ESPN Plus telecast. I'll have the radio broadcast, and then we're on the road to Mobile, 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Troy against South Alabama, who's leading the league right now. I'll have that one as well. But women's basketball begins at Trojan Arena tomorrow night at 6 against South Alabama. They've got those frisbee catching dogs in action at Trojan Arena. They were there for the men's games. That thing was insane. Plus, the first 500 students receive a Cardinal Beat South t-shirt. That's women's basketball tonight. Troy is on a 4-game winning streak. And then Saturday, they take on the Louisiana Raging Cajuns at 3:33 at Trojan Arena. Buy one, get one free tickets at TroyTrojans.com/tickets.
Yeah, big road trip. Need to get to some wins before they head back home.
Yes,
all right, Gurn, let's see what else we got left on the Victorland 777 topic wheel. We're going to spin it, see where it lands. 2 more panels left, and it's going to end on, standings. And we touched on this a little earlier today. I don't know this officially, but it looks like a 2-horse race in the Longshore McKnight Bowl Prediction Contest in association with Yellowhammer News. Of course, a $1,000 travel voucher from the Montgomery Regional Airport is up for grabs. C.D. Powell, currently in the number 1 position. He's got Notre Dame winning it, but down the list in about 38th position, he's the next closest. is Chris the Bammer. He's got Ohio State winning the national title. There are others further down the list and on other pages that have Ohio State and Notre Dame, but they just don't have as many points as those two guys do. To me, it's a two-horse race between those two.
Yeah, well, and again, a good point from Curtis on the chat line. He said, C.D. Powell might be a girl, like Katie Lang or J.K. Rowling or something like that.
The Otis could pull there.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Yep.
We have had female winners in our NCAA tournament as well as our bowl predictions. So that has happened.
And our golf majors and stuff.
That's
correct. They're pretty smart, yes.
I spin it one more time, Gern, and we will officially have spun the wheel and gotten every topic off the board today. It is SEC hoops. No reason to regurgitate what we saw last night. Very light card in the SEC tonight. And then, of course, on Sunday, Saturday, we're back at it. We'll talk probably more about that tomorrow. But tonight's card, what you said, 3 games?
3 games tonight. The spotlight game this evening in the SEC. Number 23, Georgia, at number 6, Tennessee. Tennessee had been number 1 until they got clocked by the Florida Gators. That's at 7 o'clock tonight from Knoxville, SEC Network. Also, South Carolina at Vanderbilt at 5 on the SEC Network. And tonight, for some reason, they're starting it at 9 in Norman, Oklahoma on the SEC Network. Texas versus Oklahoma. The Sooners are 13-3 and are favored in that game. So you got a triple header of SEC basketball on the SEC Network starting at 5 and going through to the end of the Oklahoma-Texas game, which starts at 9 o'clock.
Man, back to back. Love it.
Yep,
all right, tomorrow, Barry, Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, will join us at the bottom of the first hour. We'll kick off the second hour with the Tighter Insider, Rodney Orr, sponsored exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. The freshest seafood available in the river region is at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Or call ahead. Your order will be ready for pickup, 288-4272. And then our resident college basketball expert, Bart Heisch, number 22 on Mississippi State's Final Four team, will break it all down for us tomorrow in the bottom of the second hour.
Our thanks to Gurren Jr. for being with us. Also, C.J. Duncan from Yellowhammer News. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.